He's avoiding you because he likes you too much. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. The guy who's pulling away from you right now, he might actually have stronger feelings for you than the guy who's chasing you. Today, I'm going to explain exactly why a man runs away from someone he's falling for. If his behavior has been confusing you, if you've been wondering why he suddenly got cold after things felt so good, you're about to understand what's really happening in his head. And here's the thing. Most women get this completely backward. They think distance means he doesn't care. But sometimes distance means he cares so much that it scares the hell out of him. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see his behavior forever. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly what's going on and what it actually means for you. Let's be honest for a second. There's nothing more confusing than a guy who seems really into you one day and then acts like you barely exist the next day. You felt something real between you two. You saw it in his eyes. You felt it in the way he looked at you, the way he laughed at your jokes, the way he found reasons to be near you. And then suddenly he's gone. He stops texting as much. He makes excuses when you try to make plans. He seems distant, cold, like a completely different person, and your brain immediately goes to the worst place. He changed his mind. He met someone else. He was never that interested to begin with. You start questioning everything that happened between you. You replay every conversation, every moment, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You wonder if you said something that turned him off. You think maybe you were too available or not available enough. Maybe you came on too strong, or maybe you didn't show enough interest. Your mind creates 100 different stories to explain his sudden shift in behavior. But here's what you need to understand. When a man pulls away after getting close to you, it's not always because his feelings disappeared. A lot of times it's because his feelings got too big for him to deal with. Let me explain what I mean. Most guys don't grow up learning how to handle deep emotions. They're taught to be tough, to stay in control, to never look weak or needy. So when a woman comes along who makes him feel things he's not used to feeling, things that feel vulnerable and intense and scary, his first instinct isn't to move closer. His first instinct is to protect himself. And the way he protects himself is by creating space. It's like a reflex. Something gets too real, too close, too important, and his brain tells him to back up before he gets hurt. Think about it like this. When something doesn't matter to you, it's easy. You're relaxed. You don't overthink it. You just show up and do whatever feels natural. But when something really matters, when you care about the outcome, that's when fear kicks in. That's when you start worrying about messing it up. That's when you start thinking about all the ways it could go wrong. And for a lot of men, that fear is enough to make them back away. Not because they don't want you, but because they want you so much that the idea of losing you or looking stupid in front of you feels unbearable. This is something most women don't get because it doesn't match how we typically respond to feelings. When we care about someone, we usually want to get closer. We want more time, more conversation, more connection. But men are often wired differently. Their protective instincts kick in first. So what does this actually look like? Let me break it down for you. A man who's avoiding you because his feelings are too strong won't just disappear completely. If he truly didn't care, he'd ghost you. He'd be done. You'd never hear from him again. But that's not what happens. Instead, you get this weird pattern. He pulls back, but then he pops back up. He goes quiet for a few days. And then out of nowhere, he sends you a message. He acts distant when you see him, but then you catch him staring at you when he thinks you're not looking. He says he's too busy to hang out, but then he's suddenly free the moment you mention you're doing something. That back and forth, that push and pull, that's not confusion. That's internal battle. Part of him wants to run toward you, and part of him wants to protect himself from getting hurt. These two forces are constantly fighting inside him, and you're seeing the result of that war play out in his behavior. Another thing you'll notice is how he acts when you're truly together versus when you're apart. When you're face to face, things feel good. The connection is there. He's present. He's engaged. He's the version of himself you fell for. But the moment you're not together, he goes cold. He doesn't text much. He takes forever to respond. He keeps things surface level. Why? Because being around you in person pulls him in. Your presence is too strong for him to resist. But when you're not there, his logical brain takes over. And that logical brain tells him to be careful, to slow down, to not get in too deep. So he creates distance through his actions, even though his heart wants something completely different. It's easier for him to resist you through a phone screen than it is when you're right in front of him, smiling at him, making him feel things he's trying not to feel. Let me tell you something else. A man who's dealing with deep feelings will also act weird in groups. If you're both in the same social situation, watch what he does. He might avoid standing near you. He might barely talk to you. He might even seem like he's ignoring you completely. But at the same time, his awareness of you is constant. He knows exactly where you are in the room. He notices when you laugh at someone else's joke. He sees when another guy talks to you. And if you pay close enough attention, you'll catch moments where his eyes find you, even though he's pretending he's not paying attention. That's not indifference. That's someone fighting really hard to look like they don't care when inside they care way too much. He's putting on a performance for everyone in the room, including himself, trying to prove that you don't affect him the way you actually do. Now, here's where it gets tricky. When you're going through this, it's easy to feel rejected. It's easy to think you did something wrong or that you're not enough for him. But you need to hear this. His behavior has almost nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with him and what's going on inside him. Maybe he just got out of something serious and he's terrified of going through that again. Maybe he's dealing with things in his life that make him feel like he's not ready for something real. Maybe he's scared because he's never felt this way before and he doesn't know how to handle it. Maybe he's worried that if he shows you how much he cares, you'll have power over him. Men think about power more than you realize. And when a man really cares about a woman, he knows she has the power to hurt him. And that's terrifying. It's like handing someone a weapon and trusting they won't use it. For a lot of men, that level of vulnerability feels impossible. There's also the fear of not being good enough. A lot of guys won't admit this, but when they really like someone, they start questioning themselves. They wonder if they're successful enough, interesting enough, attractive enough. They worry that once you really get to know them, you'll see their flaws and walk away. So instead of risking that rejection, they create distance first. It's a defense mechanism. If he pulls away before you reject him, then he's the one in control. He protected himself before you had the chance to hurt him. It's not logical, but emotions rarely are. In his mind, he's saving himself from future pain by creating present distance. He'd rather live with the regret of what could have been than face the possibility of you seeing the real him and deciding he's not enough. Here's another sign that his avoidance is actually about deep feelings and not about lack of interest. Notice how he reacts when you pull back too. If you stop reaching out, if you give him space, if you start focusing on your own life, does he notice? Does he suddenly come back around? Does he reach out with some random excuse just to reconnect? A man who doesn't care will let you walk away without a second thought. But a man who's avoiding you because he's scared will panic the moment he feels like he's losing you for real. That's when his fear of losing you becomes bigger than his fear of getting hurt. And that's when he shows back up. You'll see it happen like clockwork. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you give him the space he claimed he wanted, suddenly he's finding reasons to be in your life again. Let me tell you what else happens. When he does reach out, his messages might seem casual or light, but look at the timing. He reaches out late at night when his guard is down. He messages you when he's had a tough day and needs someone who makes him feel good. He finds reasons to ask you questions or tell you things that don't really need to be said. He's looking for connection even while he's trying to keep distance. That contradiction is the whole point. He wants you, but he's fighting it. He cares, but he's scared. And those two things are battling inside him every single day. You might get a text at midnight asking about something random, or a message on a Sunday morning saying he saw something that reminded him of you. These aren't accidents. These are moments when his feelings broke through whatever walls he's trying to build. Now let's talk about what happens when other guys show interest in you. This is where you really see the truth. A man who doesn't have feelings won't care if someone else is pursuing you. But a man who's avoiding you because his feelings are too strong, he'll care a lot. You might not see it directly, but it'll show up in small ways. He'll ask questions about the other person. He'll make comments that sound casual, but are actually him fishing for information. He might even suddenly become more available or more attentive when he senses competition. Why? Because the idea of losing you to someone else makes his fear of getting hurt seem small compared to the fear of watching you be with someone who isn't him. Jealousy has a way of cutting through all the protection and defense. It forces him to confront what he actually feels. Here's something really important to understand. This kind of behavior doesn't last forever. A man can only run from his feelings for so long before something has to give. Either he'll eventually face what he's feeling and come back ready to be real with you, or he'll decide the fear is too big and he'll actually walk away for good. But while he's in this in-between space, while he's avoiding you, but still showing up in small ways, he's wrestling with something deep. And that's not nothing. That's actually significant. It means you got to him in a way most people don't. You touch something in him that he's not used to feeling. And that kind of impact doesn't just disappear because he's scared. You've gotten under his skin in a way that's making him question everything he thought he knew about what he wanted and what he was ready for. So what does this mean for you? First, it means you need to stop blaming yourself. His pulling away is not proof that you're not enough. It's actually often proof that you are enough. You're enough to make him feel vulnerable, enough to make him question his walls, enough to scare him into protecting himself. Second, it means you need to be honest about what you want. If a man is running hot and cold with you, you have to decide how long you're willing to wait for him to figure himself out. You can give him space. You can be patient, but you can't put your life on hold forever, waiting for someone to be brave enough to choose you. That's not fair to you. Your time matters, your emotional energy matters, and you deserve someone who's ready to meet you where you are. Here's the thing about fear. It makes people do things that don't make sense from the outside. It makes them push away the very thing they want most. It makes them create distance when they actually want closeness. And if you don't understand that fear is what's driving his behavior, you'll misread everything. You'll think he doesn't care when he actually cares so much it's overwhelming him. You'll think he's not interested when the truth is he's too interested and doesn't know how to deal with it. Fear is a powerful force. It can make a grown man act like a confused teenager. It can make someone who's usually confident become suddenly unsure. It can turn clarity into chaos. Let me give you some perspective on this. Imagine you met someone who made you feel more than you felt in years. Someone who saw you in a way most people don't. Someone who made you laugh and challenged you and made you feel alive. But imagine at the same time, your life felt messy or complicated. Maybe you just went through something painful. Maybe you're not where you thought you'd be at this point in your life. Maybe you're dealing with doubts about yourself. Now imagine this person shows up right in the middle of all that. The timing feels wrong, even though the person feels right. What would you do? You might pull back, not because you don't want them, but because you don't feel ready, because you're scared of messing it up, because you're worried you'll hurt them or they'll hurt you. That's what's happening with him. He's caught between what he wants and what he thinks he can handle. Another piece of this puzzle is how he talks about the future. A man who doesn't see you in his life won't mention anything beyond right now. But a man who's avoiding you because his feelings are deep will sometimes let things slip. He'll make a comment about something months from now and include you in it with out thinking. He'll talk about places he wants to go or things he wants to do, and you'll notice he's picturing you there with him. Then he'll catch himself and pull back again. Those little slips are windows into what he actually wants, even if he's not ready to fully step into it yet. Pay attention to those moments. They tell you more truth than anything he says when his guard is up. When someone's defenses drop for even a second, that's when you see what's really in their heart. Here's what you also need to watch for. How does he talk about his past? Does he bring up old relationships or past hurt without you even asking? Does he mention being burned before or trusting someone and regretting it? A lot of times, a man who's avoiding you because he's scared is actually telling you exactly why he's scared. He's giving you clues about what's holding him back. He might not connect the dots himself. He might not realize he's explaining his current behavior through his past stories. But if you listen closely, you'll hear it. You'll understand that his avoidance has roots that go way deeper than anything you did. His past experiences are coloring how he sees his present possibilities. And until he deals with that old hurt, it's going to keep showing up in how he handles new connections. Now let's talk about his effort. This is key. A man who truly doesn't care puts in zero effort. But a man who's avoiding you because his feelings are strong will show effort in weird, inconsistent ways. He won't text you every day, but when he does text, it's thoughtful. He won't make plans all the time, but when he does, he remembers things you mentioned weeks ago. He won't be around constantly, but when he is around, he's fully present. That selective effort tells you something. It tells you that when he does engage, it matters to him. He's not just going through the motions. He's actually showing up in the moments when he can handle it. The quality of his attention when he gives it is different from someone who's just casually interested. There's weight to it. There's intention behind it. Let me tell you something that might be hard to hear, but is really important. You can't fix this for him. You can't logic him out of his fear. You can't convince him that it's safe to be vulnerable with you. He has to work through that himself. What you can do is be clear about what you want and what you're available for. You can live your life fully instead of waiting around trying to decode his every move. You can let him know you're interested, but you're not going to chase someone who's running away. And then you let him make his choice. Because at the end of the day, he has to decide if what he feels for you is bigger than what he's afraid of. You can't do that work for him. You can't make him ready. You can't force him to be brave. Here's another truth. Some men will eventually face their fear and come back ready to be real. They'll realize that running didn't make the feelings go away. They'll recognize that avoiding you actually made them miss you more. And they'll finally be brave enough to stop protecting themselves and start pursuing what they actually want. But some men won't. Some men will stay stuck in their fear. They'll keep you at arm's length forever, wanting you but never